Jacob's journey is a deeply human one, filled with flaws, failures, and ultimate transformation. Born into a family chosen by God, he was raised with the knowledge of a divine covenant. Yet his life didn't follow a path of ease or immediate greatness. Even his name, Jacob, meaning heel grabber or supplanter, hints at a competitive spirit and a life marked by contention. From the beginning, Jacob's relationship with his twin brother Esau was fraught with rivalry. He held Esau's heel at birth, an action foreshadowing the deception and tension that would define much of their relationship. For those struggling today with feelings of inadequacy or uncertainty about their own life paths, Jacob's journey offers hope. Here was a man chosen by God, yet his path to fulfillment was filled with mistakes and missteps. For example, Jacob's intense desire for approval led him to deceive his father, Isaac, stealing the blessing meant for Esau. This action forced him to leave his family, fleeing not only the anger of his brother but also his own guilt and shame. Often, people today wrestle with similar feelings when they take steps they regret or make choices that seem to push them further from their purpose. Jacob's story reminds us that struggle is often an integral part of growth. His life shows that even amid mistakes and hardships, our journeys have meaning. Jacob's story inspires us to keep going, trusting that transformation can happen, even when our lives seem off track. His path teaches that, with humility and resilience, we can still fulfill our unique destinies. Jacob's struggle and exile. Jacob's exile wasn't just a physical separation from his family. It was a journey of personal growth and self-discovery. When Jacob deceived his father, he broke the bonds of trust and created deep hurt within his family. Escaping to his uncle Laban's household, he entered a new world of hardship and unfamiliarity. There, he experienced the very betrayal and manipulation he had once inflicted, as Laban repeatedly deceived him, particularly in the matter of marriage to Laban's daughters, Leah and Rachel. This cycle of trickery served as a mirror, forcing Jacob to confront his actions and realize the pain he'd caused others. For those who feel isolated by their own actions or are facing the consequences of past choices, Jacob's story can resonate deeply. Many find themselves distanced from loved ones or bearing the weight of previous mistakes. Jacob's time with Laban reflects a principle many experience in life. The lessons that shape us most often come through situations that force us to see our own faults. Over years of hard labor, Jacob learned patience, humility, and empathy. While he initially worked out of obligation, he grew into a man who understood the value of relationships and the responsibilities that come with trust. Jacob's exile wasn't the end of his story, but a season of refinement. His willingness to endure and grow through the challenges reminds us that, while we may feel distant from our purpose or loved ones, these periods of struggle can transform us. They can prepare us to rebuild the bridges we've broken and to step forward with new wisdom and compassion. Encounters with God. During his exile, Jacob's encounters with God served as pivotal moments in his life, each one marking a significant shift in his understanding of himself and his relationship with the divine. His first encounter at Bethel was a moment of reassurance. God spoke to him, reaffirming the covenant made with Abraham and Isaac, promising that Jacob's descendants would be as numerous as the dust of the earth. This encounter reminded Jacob that despite his flaws and failures, he was still chosen, still part of a greater plan. For those who doubt their own worth or wonder if their past mistakes disqualify them from love or purpose, Jacob's story brings hope. His encounter with God didn't come after he had fixed his life. It came in the midst of his exile, his brokenness. It's a reminder that divine grace often meets us in our lowest moments, not because we've earned it, but because we're in need of it. Years later, on his journey home, Jacob would encounter God again, this time in a wrestling match with a mysterious figure. Through the night, Jacob wrestled physically and spiritually, seeking a blessing and refusing to let go until he received it. This moment of wrestling reflects a truth many face in their spiritual journeys, that growth often requires struggle. In the end, Jacob's name was changed to Israel, symbolizing his transformation. No longer defined by his past, he became one who struggles with God, a powerful testament to the idea that our greatest challenges often bring our greatest blessings. Jacob's encounters with God remind us that divine connection and transformation are available, even, and especially, amid our struggles. Jacob's family, the foundation of the 12 tribes. The story of Jacob's family is more than a lineage. It's a tapestry woven from both love and strife, grace and pain. Each of his 12 sons, born to 4 women, 2 wives, Leah and Rachel, and 2 concubines, Bilhah and Zilpah, represents unique strengths and struggles. In this complex family dynamic, each son not only contended for his father's favor, but also embodied qualities that would later define the tribes of Israel. This structure set the stage for rivalries and alliances that would foreshadow Israel's future unity and discord. Consider Leah's sons, for instance, who sought validation in a household where their mother felt unloved. Reuben, as Leah's firstborn, had the potential for greatness, but his poor choices cost him dearly. Simeon and Levi's anger, fueled by loyalty to their sister, led to a violent act that branded them as impulsive and fierce. Such moments show us how family roles and early experiences can deeply influence one's destiny and character. Rachel's sons, Joseph and Benjamin, were born from a love that Jacob cherished deeply, and their unique roles reflected this. Joseph's favored status led to jealousy among his brothers, but eventually resulted in a powerful story of forgiveness and redemption. The bonds and trials within this family paint a picture familiar to anyone who has struggled within complex family dynamics. It's a reminder that our relationships, especially familial ones, can shape us in profound ways. Though marked by tension, the 12 sons collectively formed the foundation of a nation, showing that even flawed, struggling individuals can contribute to something greater when united by purpose and shared destiny. Reuben, the firstborn and lost potential. Reuben's story speaks to the weight of expectations and the consequences of impulsive actions. As the eldest son, he bore the responsibility of being the firstborn, a role that traditionally came with the birthright and a double portion of inheritance. Reuben had every reason to be a leader among his brothers, yet he made choices that damaged his potential and strained his father's trust. The Bible records his critical mistake when he took his father's concubine, Bilhah, an act that not only disrespected Jacob but also indicated a disregard for family unity and the boundaries set by his role. This misstep cost Reuben his status as the firstborn, a loss that reverberated throughout his life. His story resonates with many who have experienced the weight of lost opportunities, perhaps due to a moment of poor judgment or an impulsive decision. Reuben reminds us that, while we may feel compelled to act in moments of anger, resentment, or pride, these actions often lead to regret. Imagine someone in today's world who loses a promising job, a close friendship, or a cherished relationship due to a single rash decision. The disappointment and self-reflection that follow can feel insurmountable. Yet Reuben's life also offers hope. He remained among his brothers and continued to contribute, even if his influence was lessened. This narrative encourages us to reflect on our own choices and reminds us that redemption and healing are possible even when we must face the consequences of our actions. Simeon and Levi, the zealous brothers. Simeon and Levi's story highlights the dangers of uncontrolled anger and the weight of loyalty taken to extremes. When their sister Dinah was defiled by Shechem, their reaction was swift and brutal. They plotted an act of revenge that went far beyond justice. They deceived the men of Shechem into circumcision and then attacked them at their most vulnerable, killing all the men in the city. This act of vengeance not only stained their reputations but also troubled their father, Jacob, who saw the long-lasting consequences of their wrath on his family's name. For Simeon and Levi, their loyalty to Dinah was commendable, yet their response was excessive. They acted from a place of deep hurt and a desire to protect, but without wisdom or foresight. This tendency can be seen today when, in times of emotional pain, we may react impulsively, perhaps in an argument where hurtful words are said or actions taken that cannot easily be undone. Like Simeon and Levi, such actions are often driven by a sense of righteousness or loyalty, yet without thought, they can lead to regret. In the blessings Jacob later gave to his sons, he did not forget their actions, cautioning them against letting their anger rule them. Their story serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of channeling strong emotions productively. It teaches us that while zeal and passion can be forces for good, they must be balanced by wisdom and patience. We all have moments where we feel justified in our anger, but Simeon and Levi's actions remind us of the cost of unchecked rage. Their journey challenges us to find better ways to advocate for what we believe in while preserving integrity and peace. Judah, a journey from betrayal to kingship. Judah's story is a profound illustration of personal transformation, from a man involved in betrayal to one who embodies leadership and redemption. Early in his life, Judah chose a path of convenience over compassion. He was the one who suggested selling his brother Joseph to avoid shedding blood while still ridding themselves of him. Yet, years later, Judah shows us that no one is bound by their past. He emerges as a figure willing to bear the consequences of his actions, a rare trait that hints at deep internal growth. This transformation reaches its pinnacle when Judah steps forward, offering himself as a surety for his younger brother, Benjamin, in Egypt. After witnessing the impact Joseph's loss had on their father, Judah could no longer ignore his responsibilities. He assures Jacob that he will protect Benjamin, and when trouble arises, he steps up to fulfill that promise. By placing Benjamin's safety above his own, Judah demonstrates a shift from selfish ambition to selfless sacrifice. In Judah's life, we see the promise of change and redemption that many people long for. His journey speaks to anyone who feels trapped by past mistakes, reminding them that growth is always possible. Judah's later leadership of his family and his role as the forefather of Israel's line of kings, including David and Jesus, underscore that even flawed beginnings can lead to great legacies. His path encourages us to choose integrity over convenience, especially when others' well-being is at stake, demonstrating that genuine change lies within reach for anyone willing to face their shortcomings. Dan, the judge and the serpent. Dan's blessing paints him as both a judge and a serpent, a duality that might seem contradictory but represents both the strength and caution inherent in his character. Jacob's prophecy that Dan shall judge his people hints at wisdom, while the image of a serpent biting at a horse's heels reflects a kind of cunning and subtlety. These symbols reflect qualities of justice tempered by strategy, traits that made the tribe of Dan both respected and feared. The tribe of Dan later became known for their military strategy and political influence, often able to defend and protect Israel's borders with agility. However, Dan's blessing also implies that power and cunning, if misused, can lead to treachery and disunity. Like a serpent that strikes suddenly, Dan's tribe would experience both victory and betrayal. This dual nature is a reminder that the same skills that make us effective, like strategic thinking and quick reflexes, can become sources of harm if misdirected. Dan's story resonates deeply with those who may feel a strong sense of purpose but also an inner struggle. Like Dan, we may wrestle with using our gifts for good rather than succumbing to temptations of self-interest or pride. Dan's life is a lesson in integrity, reminding us that every decision impacts not just ourselves but also those who depend on us. His example encourages us to use our influence wisely, with an awareness of how easily even good intentions can lead astray without humility and a grounding in justice. Naphtali, the free and eloquent. Naphtali's blessing characterizes him as a doe let loose, graceful, free, and swift. This image captures a sense of agility and freedom, which became defining traits for his descendants. The tribe of Naphtali, located in the northern regions, was known for their swiftness in battle and their adaptability, qualities essential for survival. But more than physical agility, Jacob's blessing mentions Naphtali's beautiful words, suggesting eloquence and a gift for communication. His tribe was often seen as peacekeepers, capable of navigating complex situations with diplomacy and tact. Naphtali's blessing of freedom and grace speaks to anyone feeling confined or restricted by life's circumstances. His story reminds us that, even in the face of limitations, we can find ways to move forward with agility and confidence. For example, Naphtali's descendants became known for their peaceful alliances with neighboring tribes, often negotiating rather than fighting. This demonstrates how grace and freedom are not passive traits but active choices that require both courage and wisdom. In Naphtali's example, we find inspiration to pursue balance in our lives, valuing freedom yet respecting responsibility. His legacy encourages us to recognize our own unique gifts, whether they be eloquence, agility, or peacekeeping, and to use them for good. Like a doe that moves gracefully through the wilderness, we too can find our way through life's challenges with lightness and resilience, understanding that true strength often lies in gentleness and adaptability. Gad, the warrior. Gad's story is one of resilience, marked by an unyielding warrior spirit. Gad's blessing emphasizes that he would be continually attacked but would ultimately triumph over his enemies. This tribe, choosing to settle on the eastern side of the Jordan River, often found themselves exposed to outside threats. Despite their vulnerability, the people of Gad embraced the role of protectors, proving time and again their strength and tenacity. Their lives speak to us of perseverance against all odds, a reminder that hardships, though painful, are not the final word. Consider the moments in life when adversity seems relentless and the struggle feels unending. Gad's story reminds us that even when circumstances feel overwhelming, resilience can transform these challenges into growth. This resilience can be seen in individuals who, despite personal losses or difficult circumstances, continue to push forward, finding strength in purpose. Take, for example, a single parent working multiple jobs to provide for their family. Like Gad, they face constant battles but refuse to give up, finding ways to provide for their loved ones despite the odds. Gad's blessing encourages us to keep moving forward, even when it feels like we're losing ground. The true measure of our strength lies not in avoiding conflict but in how we respond to it. Gad's legacy calls us to stand firm, knowing that, in the end, perseverance yields victory. Asher, the blessed provider. Asher's blessing is one of peace, abundance, and provision. He is described as one who will provide delicacies fit for a king, suggesting prosperity and an overflowing richness in life. The tribe of Asher was known for the fertile lands they inhabited, where the soil was rich and the crops were plentiful. Asher's role as a provider resonates deeply, for in his legacy, we see the beauty of living generously and gratefully, of sharing what one has with those around. For those who feel weary from striving or are burdened by scarcity, Asher's blessing reminds us that blessings often come from the quiet, faithful work we invest in life. We may think of a chef who spends hours perfecting a meal, hoping to offer a special experience to others. Asher's example tells us that we, too, can create environments where others feel nourished and at peace, whether that's through a shared meal or a comforting conversation. For those experiencing abundance, Asher's story is a call to consider others in our prosperity, making our blessings an opportunity to bless others. In a world that often values accumulation, Asher's legacy reminds us that true richness comes from giving freely and fostering community. Issachar, the strong worker. Issachar's blessing describes him as a strong donkey that bears burdens willingly, an image of both strength and humility. His tribe became known for its industrious nature, providing stability and support within Israel. Issachar's character speaks to those who take on responsibility without seeking recognition, who value hard work and dedication over status or fame. The image of a donkey may seem unglamorous, but it highlights a profound truth. Strength is often found in quiet perseverance, not in flashy displays of power. In our own lives, we often encounter people who embody Issachar's spirit. Think of the nurse working late hours in a hospital, or a teacher who invests tirelessly in their students. These roles, though rarely celebrated, are foundational to society. For those who feel overlooked, Issachar's story is a comforting reminder that their efforts are seen and valued by God, even if they go unnoticed by the world. Issachar's legacy invites us to embrace our roles, whatever they may be, as acts of service. His example shows that there is dignity in labor and honor in responsibility. He teaches us to find purpose in being dependable and to see the beauty in humble work, knowing that true strength lies in service. Zebulun, the sea voyager. Zebulun, Leah's sixth son, was blessed as a sea voyager. His tribe thrived in trade, bringing wealth and honor to Israel. Zebulun's story celebrates enterprise and the courage to venture into new frontiers, symbolizing the spirit of exploration and the rewards of ambition. Joseph, the dreamer and forgiver. Joseph's story is one of divine purpose, endurance, and forgiveness. Sold into slavery by his brothers, he rose to power in Egypt. His ability to interpret dreams saved many from famine. Joseph's tale highlights God's providence, the power of forgiveness, and the resilience required to fulfill a divine calling. Benjamin, the beloved and loyal. Benjamin, the youngest, symbolizes loyalty and family unity. Though often overshadowed by his brothers' dramatic lives, his role in reuniting the family was crucial. Benjamin's story highlights the strength of loyalty and the importance of family in overcoming life's challenges.